Good afternoon. My name is Odie Hawkins, and it's Monday afternoon, and once again we're here to talk to you about buying one of my books. I'm here with Zola Salena-Hawkins, who is now presently standing behind the camera, but I'd like for her to join me if you would.
I certainly will.
And I've already poured you a nice cool drink.
Thank you.
I know you like ice water. I'm sorry, iced tea, iced tea. Iced tea. Here's, look at your iced tea.
Thank you.
I'm also drinking iced tea.
Drinking.
Actually, it's pineapple juice. Now, what this is about...
Oh, before we go any further, hurry up and get you some libation.
Oh, join us. It's a hot night.
Yes,
it's a hot night.
Yes, indeed.
We've been doing this for a few Mondays now, and the reception has been pretty good. And we're having fun doing it. So remember, the ultimate goal is to have you buy one of my books. On this particular occasion, we're featuring a book that I've written, a novel called Chester L. Simmons, a.k.a. The Great Lord Buddha. I'll get into the name in a minute or so, but it has nothing to do with Buddha, the Buddhist religion or any of that. This is a nickname that somebody gave this man. What I'd like to say at the beginning is that the story that I'm trying to tell through Chester L. Simmons is one that has occurred in Chicago. I know, maybe other places too, Atlanta, Detroit, wherever you have black storytellers. Or as my Uncle Eddie used to call them, black lions. You'll have people telling stories that could have been true, may be true, would have been true, and so forth. In this case, well, let me start it this way. Where'd you get that dress from?
Well, my girlfriend Linda gave it to me many, many years ago, and I truly enjoy it. And haven't had opportunity to wear it till...
It looks Cambodian.
I believe. I'm sure she's a world traveler and a wonderful person, wonderful friend.
Yeah, I just had to mention that because it's, it's startling. Anyway, what I've done is made a few notes, and I have to get control of myself talking about Chester L. Simmons, the Great Lord Buddha.
And the cover?
The photo was done by none other than Salena-Hawkins.
Yes, I did.
The woman that I'm calling the Cosmic Muffin because she makes things happen.
And I took this picture of Odie while he was walking along the beach, and the seagulls were behind him, and I looked at like the Great Lord Buddha.
Okay, first of all, let me get into how the name came about. We had this man. I was living on 42nd and Bowen in Chicago on the south side. This is in the 50s. And we had a regular little crew, Bobo, Billy Woods, name the names that they were, Mooney. And we used to sit around on a stone porch at the corner of an alley on nights, afternoons like this, especially in the summertime, and smoke weed and drink Richard's Wild Irish Rose. You're right. That's what we did. Chester L. Simmons was one of our neighborhood champions because he was one of the people who said to the people in the neighborhood, said, look at him, you're not going to wind up with no good happening to you. Look at all you do is sit around and smoke that marijuana and drink that terrible wine and stuff like that. And he was the one who said, no, give the young people a chance. Don't be so hard on them.
I told you, don't you remember when you were 15?
Don't you remember when you were 15? Of course, some of them couldn't remember because they couldn't remember anything.
Yeah.
But he was that kind of guy. One night on this particular occasion, I remember, he was coming home from somewhere with his girlfriend, Heatwave, who was in her 20s and was hot Heat wave was hot.
Brick house.
Buddha was in his 50s maybe, and we couldn't figure out what well, anyway, that was that.
Mm-hmm.
Along comes Mayflower, who was our neighborhood RuPaul,
Mm-hmm.
who was always just simply full of himself and herself. It's Miss Thang, he called himself.
Miss Thang, yes indeed.
You know, how y'all doing?
Mm-hmm.
Buddha and Heat Wave were having some kind of argument about something, because they always had some argument about something until they went upstairs and they didn't argue at all.
Mm-hmm.
He sends her upstairs, leave me alone, we'll talk about this later. He joins us on the steps.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing an ascot, polka dot ascot, smoking French cigarettes out of a bone holder,
Mm-hmm.
and looks perfectly debonair.
Sure.
And he's saying, you see what I mean? Remember what Nietzsche said. When you go to women, take the whip. Nietzsche?
Yes.
Nietzsche? Who? Nietzsche who? Friedrich Nietzsche, he was a German philosopher. You've never heard of him? He was always doing this kind of stuff to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, hey, man, I ain't never heard of no Nietzsche or no Nazi or nothing.
Doesn't live in the neighborhood.
Yeah, what neighborhood he live in?
Right.
So he was patient. I said, well, you know, what are you drinking? So we're drinking this, Wild Irish. You want some? And he laughed. No, young man. Here's $5. Go down to the liquor store and get a decent wine to drink. Well, what's a decent wine, Buddha?
Mm-hmm.
A decent wine is Chateau Neuf du Splat or Beaujolais Bougealençon.
Uh-huh.
Or
something that the liquor store doesn't have. All right. Okay. Got it.
So we look at it, well, we got $5, we're going to get some more wine anyway. So our friend Sherman, who runs faster than the Gazelle,
Mm-hmm.
is appointed the runner. While he's gone, Buddha settles himself down on the step with us because he's tired of arguing with Heat Wave and he wants to talk to a friendly audience.
Mm-hmm.
Say, hey, I bet y'all been wondering how I got my name, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know who Buddha was,
Right.
and at the time didn't care very much.
Well, he's the one who has $5.
But he had $5, so we were willing to listen to anything he had to say. So, well, what happened was, long before any of y'all was born,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to trip off to China.
Ah.
China? Well, you know,
How'd you do that?
why'd you go to China?
Yeah.
Mississippi.
Mississippi?
That's right, that's what he said. He was why did I go to China? Mississippi.
Ah.
So he was one of these kind of people who give you the punchline and then backtrack on it.
Okay.
Oh, now we clicking in our heads. You know, he's born in Yazoo City, Mississippi, and he said to him,
Where your father was born?
exactly,
Oh,
as
okay.
a matter of fact.
So he's
yeah.
familiar with the area.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So as you can see, I fused some things in there.
Yes, I see. Okay. Mm-hmm. You see?
Okay, Sherman, doesn't take long to get the, don't think that it was anything illegal was done. The only thing he had to do was get to the liquor store, give 50 cents to the local winos to go in and get it. The 15-year-old boy didn't have to break the law in order to get a pint bottle of Rich's Wild Irish Rose. So he's got the liquor.
That's ghetto law. Ghetto law. Get somebody else to do the crime.
Get somebody else to do it.
Okay.
So he's telling us, I decided to go to China because I didn't want to live in Mississippi all my life, you know, knowing what that was like. So he decided, as a young man, to get on a freighter. They tell me, a friend of mine named Ralph Vernon used to talk. He, as a matter of fact, he had a sailor's license to travel on freighters. You get a special license from the Maritime Bureau or something. You can travel on freighters. So he went traveling on a freighter to China.
Chester Simmons did.
Chester Simmons went traveling.
Okay.
The way he tells the story, he was caught up in some kind of revolutionary thing that happened. He wound up seducing a princess of the royal house, and he, of course, skipped out on her with about sometimes it's 5 pounds of jade, sometimes it's 10 pounds of jade. Mm-hmm. But he wound up skipping away with this jade, and of course, since none of us had any idea what jade was.
Barely knew what diamonds were.
Didn't know what diamond. What's a diamond?
Yeah, right. Okay.
What's that you got on your neck? Coral, right?
Coral. Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Coral.
Yeah. Okay. When I last.
And pearls.
Yeah, and pearls too.
Yes.
If you lived in our neighborhood, you'd have had your fingers and your neck snatched off.
Nobody fucked with me.
Well, I heard that.
Okay.
God, Muffin. So that's the way it went. Mm-hmm. That, he would take this jade and what he's going to do with it. So I wound up coming back to the West. Wound up in Marseille, France. Travels from China to Marseille with this jade and fences it off to some Corsican hoodlums, like the mafia, and they put him into the cross trade, into the heroin trade. By the time he had us so mixed up, along with the richest wild Irish road, we didn't know what was coming and going.
Right. Nor did you care.
Didn't matter. Mm-hmm. So now what is he going to do? Mm-hmm. Well, he thought he would just simply hang out in Europe for a while. Okay. He had enough money to do it, which is the story he told us. Mm-hmm. He winds up meeting a Italian countess, and they buy matching Ferraris to roll around.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. Okay.
Understand what I'm saying? That was what he told us.
Yes, that's what he told you.
Okay, they wanted to say.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time. Okay. Once upon a time.
Yes.
So you ride a Ferrari, man. What's a Ferrari? Mm. We were so ignorant. A Ferrari, young brothers, is a very expensive Italian car. Mm. So me and the Countess, we were going to vacations on Capri. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Capri, is that like Disneyland? Not quite. Good. And, we were having a good time, and she decides it would be a good idea for us to shoot a little heroin. So, what did you do? We all knew heroin, right? Well, she said, hey, let's pop it. I said, well, all right, So for the next 2 years, we ran all over around every place. The money was holding out pretty good until the money began to get low, and I found out that she was a fake. She wasn't an Italian countess at all. Mm-hmm. She was just somebody named Susie Spinoza from Iowa who wound up in Europe running a game on everybody, including yours truly.
Running a game.
Running a game. So what happened then? Well, I wanted to kick, but she didn't want to, so we split. Mm-hmm. And what did I do? I had to come back to the United States, and so I didn't want to go to Mississippi, so I wound up coming back to the land of the, the land of the free and home of the knave. Okay. And I got a job working in this Italian restaurant called Luigi's. Ah. And they liked me, and I liked them, and I was determined to do it at that point. Let's just simply say I was just going to live out the rest of my life serving rigatoni and fagioli, araputi, and blah, 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 blah.
And eating well.
Which is what helped them become more Buddha-like.
You got that right.
But one night, there was this black woman named Ife Hmmmmm, God's gift in Yoruba. Ife Hmmmmm. She comes in with her entourage. She was like two or three great black female opera singers, and their names won't come to her right now. One was
Marion.
not Marian Anderson. These people came later, and I know them by heart because I listen to them all the time. I can't remember the name, but anyway, Boom came in.
So Leontine Price.
Leontine Price, baby. See what I mean? Cosmic Muffin. She hit it. She was Leontine Price, and she wanted to have a good time. She was addicted to food, which a lot of opera singers are because they're very oral.
Right.
So he was appointed the service for her table, and he creeps up on her, sliding up on her to the side and see, Madame Ife Boom, I know what you would like. And she says, you do. And he says, I do. Because you understand, this is Chester Simmons, the great Lord Buddha, and he's not lost his stuff.
Right.
He's just been messed around.
He's taking a hiatus.
Dig it? She said, what do I want? He said, well, you want the veal scallopini with a shot of Vouvray and perhaps a little scusaci on the side and whatever that is, I don't know. And she digs on him, says, okay, well, bring me that. She's pleased with his service. Make a long story short, she get ready to make the European tour. 2 days later, she sends her man, her woman back in there, says, Ife Boom would like to have Chester Simmons join her entourage as a nutritionist.
Can do.
Well, he gets together with Luigi. He feels he owes Luigi, some kind of. So, hey, Luigi must. What are you talking about? This is a woman. What are you talking about? You're making an excuse. Go, go help. You help yourself. Send us some recipes from Milan and da. So he winds up with Ife Boom, baby. Traveling all over Europe. His job is to keep her from eating too much because she's about 5'9", and she can go from 190 to 290 in 2 days.
Like an eye.
Bing! But he holds on to her. In addition to that, incidentally, they discover another section of themselves that they were previously unaware of. She was unaware of anything like sex because she had always been singing all her life.
Oh.
From the time she was 13, when she was first molested by a music teacher who was female, unfortunately. So what he's talking about on a heterosexual level was just above and beyond her until he said to her, hey, it's about, things.
I know how to serve you.
I got sausage. You got sauce. Let's mix the spaghetti. Are we becoming whiskey?
Just a wee bit.
So managed to do what they do through 4 or 5 countries till finally she just simply tired enough. She's tired of being told what not to eat, when to eat. In addition to that, sex is boring to her because she would rather sing. And she just simply, I don't know what people get out of this. It's just, I'd rather sing. So he manages to slide away from there, and he winds up back in the United States. But by now, he's figured out something that he can do for the rest of his life. He begins to write. And this is how we wind up with Chester Simmons, the great Lord Buddha.
Chester Simmons, the great Lord Buddha. You can get it on iUniverse. Oh no, not long, but it came out initially on iUniverse. But you can get it on Amazon, or just put in Chester L. Simmons, the Great Lord Buddha in your search, and it'll provide you the places in which you can buy. This is one of 38 books
38.
by Odie Hawkins.
Why am I always saying 40?
Well, some of them have not been published.
Oh, I see.
Okay, that they are in the file, all ready to be published. But with the rules and regulations of today, where people can't have sex if they're under 18.
Okay, according to literary rules. Believe it or not, there are some print-on-demand publishing companies that say you shouldn't suggest that people under the age of consent, whatever that is, in some cases it's 18. And we know, we're living in the real world, and we're not suggesting that people do this or that they bless it, but there are people having sex who are far younger than 18.
Yes.
Matter of fact, people are giving birth to kids far younger than 18. So that's one of the reasons why a mention was not made of younger than legal sex age. In addition to that, as we all know, many books are being banned. At least half of the books that I wrote for Holloway House, 17 of them that I recall, received banning from the moment they were published. And people said, well, okay, tell me who banned it. And I can say to you unequivocally that the people who were in charge of passing products through suggested that most books written by African Americans in that era had books that were either oppressed or suppressed or banned.
Well, they didn't want books speaking in the vernacular, because all people who speak English speak proper English.
Yeah, okay.
That's the English.
They didn't feel anything about publishing a Faulkner book that had vernacular in it, or any other book that had the Chinese vernacular in it.
In that ghetto.
But when it came to African American ghettoese, some people want to call it African American Ebonics. I don't think it was Ebonics. We're talking about ghettoese. Ebonics to me tend to favor something that depends on tonal value rather than phonetic value. And there's a difference. If I say to you in Ga, woohoo to say, no, that's tree. If I say to you in Ga, tell your thing, how are you? You say, miye joba, I'm okay. If I say to you, tell your thing, and you linger a little bit, it means something totally different.
Well, you know, I was fortunate to listen to his name is Dr. Love. I don't remember his first name, but he studied in various languages, and according to him, Ebonics had the same similar rules to Latin, but because of the
racism,
yes, they would not accept the fact that it had definitely grammatical rules to it, and had double meanings that the culture wouldn't understand. But those in Ebony magazine and those that were trying to be proper Negroes at the time.
Yeah. Did you say Negroes?
Negroes. Those Negroes, okay, colored folks.
Colored folks.
Did not want to acknowledge the fact that smart people could speak and understand and advance speaking the language of the neighborhood.
Zola, you so much on the money. Several people, I can't think of the woman's name. Everybody's name seems to skip me sometimes. But she was talking about how it was that some African grammar was being used by enslaved people when they were being forced to speak English, and they managed to transfer their own grammatical system to the language they were learning, so that they wound up saying things like I be, we be, they be, it be.
That's what he lectured on.
Yeah. What was his name?
Dr. Love, I remember his first name, but He was so impressive. He spoke at Harbor College in Wilmington, a community college. He wore a very white suit with a red shirt and white top. African-American man. And he spoke, he did a paragraph. And within the paragraph, he spoke England, United Kingdom's English.
See here.
Yeah. And then he went all the way down, he did the Ebonics, and then he did in the alley, shooting pool.
Yeah,
and then shooting craps. Okay? And he said that an educated person should be able to go from that to that.
Okay, that's a point that I've been trying to prove in these books since 1972. When I had in each one of the books that I've had published, I've made an effort to subscribe to linguistic values and linguistic tonalities that people want, like, to suggest indicate ignorance rather than intelligence. And I've argued the point. I've had the opportunity to stand in front of groups at different universities and explain that motherfucker just didn't come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the person, I think it was probably an enslaved person who recognized that the person who had control of him and his family was just fucking the whole family, even including the daughter that he had by his enslaved maid. And you could go on and on and on. We don't have to get terribly graphic about it. So that you wind up in Africa, we were there. You would never hear anybody say anything like, motherfucker is like the most obscene, profane thing you could call somebody. Here, in some circles, it seems almost an ordinary name to call some people. And part of all of this is in the argument that goes on with any of these books written by, not just by yours truly, but by many other black authors, because as you know, many books written by people of color and also transgender people and also the multi-sexual people, they're being told that your experience in life is invalid because we don't like them. The people who are saying we don't like them are people who don't like anything. Period. They just don't like, they don't like themselves, and I don't have to bring you up to date on the present political climate, which shows beyond a shadow of a doubt that people much prefer lightness and joy than darkness and gloom.
This is being really understood in today's world. Yes, indeed.
We've taken up enough of your time, but once again, on the very down-to-earth level, we've made an effort to cop a plea.
Okay, and you know, there are little innuendos in the book which I like. It's like here where the warden is talking to Buddha as he releases him from prison. And it says, Buddha, I just got to say this. I've been a warden in somebody's prison for the last 22 years. And I just got to tell you, I've never made the acquaintance of a finer prisoner than yourself. Now, is that supposed to be a compliment? Or what? A left-handed compliment? But
well, it's filled with
a lot of tongue-in-cheek here.
Not a lot of tongue-in-cheek, you know, because, you know, the fun of being an African-American writer is that you can have fun in a sense and in a way that other people cannot have fun. And I've talked about it. I've talked with some of my white writing friends, and the guy says, I'm not going to mention his name, but Harlan Ellison said to me one day, I can't imagine a white editor saying to me, did you write that? Somebody actually asked you, did you write that? Yeah, because frankly, since we noted at one point that was against the law for African Americans, not too long ago. The country is only 200 years old. Not too long ago, it was against the law for us to read and write. So I'm standing in front of you as someone who has learned how to read and write, asking you, buy some of one of the books that I've written and that you should read it.
And what I also like with your characters, that you can be a Jamaican.
What are you talking about, woman? I can't be a Jamaican. I'm not from Jamaica. I'm from Barbados.
You can be English?
You could be. I say here, what you mean? I can't be English. Look at me closely. Can't you see who I am?
Could you be Irish?
Well, it could be possible.
Aye, aye, aye.
And let's get some green about yourself. May the road to hell grow green awaiting your coming.
Thank you ever so kindly.
Yes.
And this is Odie Hawkins. Website www.odiehawkins.com. And every morning when he wakes up and says,
Showtime!
I'm knowing that I'm going to have first row seat to a marvelous show for the day. Thank you, Odie.
Stay up.
Stay up. See you later.